My name is Gene Feher, and I was in the U.S. Army, and I rose to the low rank of what they call a Spec 4, which is an E4, Specialist Fourth Class, and that was my rank. I think what I expected was not to come home. I was resigned to the fact that I probably would not come home the way I left. That I left out of Oakland, California, which was the big terminal out there where you left to go to Vietnam in. And I remember after we were processed for departure, we went into this room. It looked almost like a gymnasium with bleachers, wooden bleachers. And there was probably about 200 of us sitting in the bleachers waiting, I guess, for the airplane. And it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And we were all sitting there, and all of a sudden, the outside doors of this gym room opened up, and all these fellow GIs came walking in. But you could tell they were wearing worn jungle fatigues. You could tell and these were all the guys coming home. And they walked by us, and it struck me odd that of the 100, 200 guys that walked by, not one of them looked up at us. No one made eye contact with us. And I couldn't figure out why. You know, you think they would say, you know, good luck or, you know, whatever, you know, until I came home. You almost look at it as bad karma, that you don't want to look at somebody who might never come home. And looking at someone, making eye contact, it was just not good to do. The good things were that the people that you served with were all great people, and you got to meet and share life for a good portion of your year with people that you met from different parts of the country, which I wasn't used to. So I met all kinds of different people. Everybody's backgrounds were different, and it was interesting to meet people that came from, you know, places you never heard of. The things that always struck me as different there was the simple fact that it was a war, and you really never knew from day to day what was going to happen to anybody. So I think you always lived in fear, stress. I became very superstitious. Every GI will tell you the same thing, that you have superstitions. You do things every day the same way. You have certain routines you do because it's good luck. It's like good luck. And I had mine. I had a chaplain gave me a little cross, and I had a St. Christopher medal, and I wore it around my neck, and I never took that chain off for my whole year. And I used to, because the heat over there was so intense and the humidity that the metal would corrode and break, and I would tape it and keep it on my neck. And when at the end of my tour, I was one of the fellows that went to Cambodia at the end in the excursion into Cambodia, and I lost my medal with 25 days left to come home in a river. And I thought that was an omen that that was it. I was going to die. I remember sitting on the edge of the riverbank with a bunch of my friends coming over going, "What's the matter?" And I said, "I'm going to die. I lost my medal in the river and I couldn't recover it." Obviously I didn't, but that's how superstitious you got. And little things like that in your mind kept you from being hurt. The biggest thing that I learned from being in the military, and certainly being in a combat environment, was probably to be a lot more tolerant to things. I used to have a very short temper when I was young. You know, you looked at me the wrong way, I'd pick a fight with you. That changed me. Now I'm very low key. Everybody always says, "Is Gene alive?" Put a mirror under his nose, you know, to see if he's breathing. Very calm for the most part about things, and very subdued. And I think it puts life in perspective for you, because you realize how fragile it is, more so when you're younger, because because you don't think that way when you're young. When I was your age and the age I went in, you thought you were invincible. You know, you'll live forever, and nothing will ever happen to me. It'll always happen to somebody else. And over there you realize that's not true. It can happen to you. And I think that is the reality that I have learned and I've kept with me my whole life until today. So, whether you agree with any position on any war at any time, whether it's Vietnam or even today, and I think it is less today. I don't think it exists today, or if it does, it's in the minority, is don't take your feelings, especially the bad feelings, out on the person doing the job. It's their job. And especially today where you don't have a draft, that people enlist and volunteer to go into the services. That's a job, and for most of them it could be their career. So they could join it in peacetime, and then war breaks out. You don't have the choice of saying, well, I don't want to do this, and I don't want. It's your job. So I think for anybody today, I think it's really wrong for you to take it out on those people. If you have anger, go to the voting booth and vote how you feel. And I think that was the thing from my generation, that was the thing that hurt the most, is that at that time, the American public took their anger and frustration about that war out on us. And I think a lot of those people today, in hindsight, realize that they did a big no-no to do that, but it was done, and you can't take it back, so to speak. So I think that's something that I think younger people should appreciate. What I appreciate the most is somebody coming up to me, and I've had little children come up to me and say, my dad or my grandfather served in such, thank you for your service. I can't tell you what that means to me. And I know all the guys that I came here with today and other fellas, that means the world to us. You don't know how good a feeling that is to have somebody to thank you for something that no one thanked you for 45, 50 years ago. So that is a very powerful statement to make to somebody. So when you see a veteran, doesn't matter who it is, and you thank them, you'll never understand how fulfilling that is to hear from our end. It's like a breath of fresh air. It is just the nicest thing you could say a million other things, that you say that and you mean it when you say it. It's worth $1 million to us. It really is. So.